really
No,
drink.
you had red wine.
Okay.
You had red wine.
Okay. Do you remember that?
Yes,
After 4 years.
I remember that.
You don't remember things that happened yesterday, but you remember things happened
Because
4 years ago.
then-
So how we met, love?
Very classic Tinder.
Mm.
It was just after COVID, I'd say. So, well, after the whole big wave and everything of COVID, so it was kind of normal and everybody was doing it to be Tindering.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's where we met, on the platform.
Yes, we were in Malta because we were both living there, and actually I was just back in Malta after being living for 2 years in Sofia, Bulgaria, and I just got started with a new company. I was working back then, and I was just looking around to find somebody to date, right?
He must mention he had Tinder Golds.
I did Tinder Gold, yes.
I did not.
I mean, I think it's fair because you shouldn't just wait and try to. I mean, let's say that you find somebody to really like, and you think that that person could really be somebody that you can do something with. Why just wasting time, or why just waiting? I don't know, 24 hours that you have more swipe to do when you can just have the
He
gold
still
one.
remembers. He
Huh?
still remembers the
Yes.
features.
Yes. Anyway, actually, love, I mean, I don't know if I told you this. No, I think we can talk about this later. We can talk about this later.
Just tell
No,
me now.
no.
You have to tell
No,
me
no.
now.
Let's talk about this later. Anyway, I mean, you know this, but let's talk about this later. It's gonna be a teaser for later. So we met on Tinder, and how was the first date? I mean, how we
So
started?
first, you were telling us where you were in your life.
Yes.
You just came back from Bulgaria, and I was at the time. So COVID it was in early 2022. So it just turned 2022 basically, and that's when we met. And so I guess the big COVID crave was over, the wave, but yeah, I was in big exam stress. So I had a very chill COVID, luckily. And so then after this whole craze, it hit me, and I was very stressed during the time that we met. Very, very stressed. And even during our first date.
I do remember. I mean, you want to jump already with the first date, but guys, she canceled on me twice before.
More than 2 times.
More than 2 times.
But that's normal, isn't it?
I mean, she canceled me, few times before having the first date.
That's so normal.
And I still remember that day. I was in front of H&M.
Zara.
Zara. I was in front of Zara, and I just saw a blonde lady come, and I was just hoping she wasn't Lora because she looked awful. I'm not saying that Lora, whatever, but the lady that saw coming, she was really awful. And I was really thinking that she did catfish me, but eventually Lora came out, and she was indeed.
He was pleasantly surprised.
Yes, weren't you?
Yeah, he looked very mysterious.
Okay.
He looked very happy to see me.
Yes, of course.
And yeah, you want to jump right in?
Yes,
or...
I mean, yes, I do remember that we couldn't even find a restaurant or a place where to go.
Yeah, so basically how it went down was I arrived there, and this man had no idea where he was. But he thought he knew. So I was living in this area.
No, it's not true.
Let me finish my sentence.
Okay.
So I've been living in that area for years and years and years on end, and there I knew every place, and he thought he knew better. And let's capitulate back to me being stressed during that time. I just wanted to have a glass of wine and sit down and relax. And he wanted to wander around and check out places. And I was like, no, not to this place. No, not to this place. No, not to this place. And he was like, no, let's try. And I was like, no.
My version is a bit different, but what I do remember is that I had already a place in mind, but she didn't like it. Isn't it true?
Yeah, it was crowded too.
Okay. Anyway,
That
you
was
didn't
a
like
place
it?
where people just have really, I mean, first of all, people always get like poisoned over there. Girls are having really bad experiences over there because men are putting stuff in their drinks. So it was
It's not
already.
that bad. It's not that.
Yes,
Anyway.
yes, over the years it actually has become quite
Okay.
bad.
Anyway, so
Maybe not back then.
okay,
that bad.
finally we managed to find we decided to go to a place which was in the capital of Malta, which is Valletta. And I still remember that she didn't even look at me. She didn't look at me for the entire journey, isn't it?
Because, so first of all, I do expect as a woman that the first date, you have a plan A, and if that doesn't work out, you have a plan B, and you have a
Okay.
reservation.
Okay.
So none of this happened.
Okay.
And then after like checking out a few other places in the area where I already knew like that's not the vibe, he said, "Oh, let's book a cab and go 20 minutes somewhere else."
10 minutes.
So that's what we did. And I just wanted to sit down and have a glass of wine.
Which we did.
Which we then did.
We found a nice place. I don't remember the name, but we got just a glass of wine or something.
Yeah, Cafe Society.
Okay. What do you remember about it?
It was dark.
Of course, it was dark.
There was no one.
You could see me?
Barely.
Okay, funny.
It was like...
Anyway, I do remember that I did take a cider because I always take cider. I don't really drink.
No, you had red wine.
Okay.
You had red wine.
Okay. Do you remember that?
Yes.
After 4 years?
I remember that.
You don't remember things that happened yesterday, but you remember things happened 4 years ago.
Because then you didn't even drink anything of it. You didn't sip from it even, and then you expected me to drink it.
And you drank it?
I didn't.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
You remember this?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway, so afterward, what happened? Now, afterward, I do remember what happened. I asked her, which for her was a bit awkward, if I could give her a kiss. I mean, what's wrong with that? I mean, being a gentleman, you should...
He's a stranger.
Okay, and what did you say?
I don't remember.
What did you say?
I don't know.
Didn't I kiss you? Didn't I kiss you?
No, you didn't.
I didn't kiss you?
I don't think you did.
I think you did. Anyway, I don't remember that either.
I don't know.
But I asked you to kiss you. But eventually...
No, I didn't allow you to kiss me then.
Oh, okay.
No.
Anyway, but the night was going quite well, no?
I wasn't sure.
You weren't sure?
No, I wasn't sure. He was giving me like a lot of red flags.
Like
a lot of red flags.
Yes. Like what?
Telling me he was stealing.
No, I didn't say that. I said that when I was 14, 15, you know, as being like a crazy teenager, I was just doing different stuff with my friends and stuff, but nothing
but the
major.
age of 14, 15 wasn't really in the present, and it was like, why he even tells me that? Like, there was no reason.
I mean, you're supposed to be always honest, no?
Yeah, but you were giving me just negative things about you.
Negative thing?
Kind of.
And so far, after 4 years, we're still here, so weren't that negative then? And?
I don't know what else, but it was just one thing after the other where I was like, oh my God, I don't know who's sitting there. I don't know where this is going. And then I was drunk.
Laura, come on. No, she's joking, no. She wasn't drunk.
I was tipsy for sure.
Yeah, you were tipsy. You get tipsy after a small glass of wine anyway. And she doesn't admit it. You never admit it when you're tipsy. Anyway, so we had a nice night, a nice evening.
Yep.
I drove her back with the car, and what we did that evening?
Nothing.
Nothing.
No.
Actually, I went to your place. I did went to your place. And what we did? We spent the entire night talking. Yes, and that was kind of crazy and unusual because usually when you meet somebody for the first time, you need some time just to make things process and everything before you just manage to open yourself properly. But with my love, with Lora, I would say that we clicked quite fast. No, we start talking from day 1 to day 2 to day 3, 4, 5, non-stop, and that was quite obsessive, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm. It was quite a very intense period.
It was a very intense period. We were really in love with each other very quickly. We showed love to one another very quickly,
Yeah.
but we didn't
Took the time to really take the time to just get to know each other with the time. Can you say that?
No, it doesn't make
I,
any sense.
I think you can say that.
No,
I mean,
it
my
makes
point
sense.
is that we did find each other we did like each other, we did like each other persona, so on and so forth. However, we didn't give us enough time to process whatever was happening, which was, not the best way to go, because you were living with your friend.
I was living in a shared flat, yeah.
And I wasn't even too far from you. I was in
Literally 2-minute walk.
2
He
minutes
was
walk.
living for me.
Yes, and I would just spend the following days and week always at your place.
Yeah.
Yes.
I think it was 2 months that we didn't, I think one night maybe you didn't sleep at my place from the first night that we met, or I at his. And it wasn't like, you think straight away, oh, it's that sexual type of thing the entire time, but it wasn't. We were just
Hooked.
cuddling, I don't know, just kind of a teenager love story.
Yes, the beginning was. But then, it didn't really. You want to share us what happened to you with your face? I think this is a thing that we have to share it. Because we said that we went too fast, and we were just too extreme. And what were the consequences of it?
There were.
Basically, one day, Lora come to me and she just say, I cannot move a side of my face. I cannot move the right side of my face. It was pretty much like
He
this.
didn't even notice it.
Yes.
He didn't even notice it and didn't even
She
tell
was
me.
pretty much like this.
And then I went to my flatmate and was like, I think something's wrong with my face. And they went, oh my God, we have to go to the hospital and everything. And Leo was like, oh no, that's nothing.
Yeah, but I went to the hospital with you.
Yes.
It was like midnight or something.
No, it wasn't.
Yes, it was super late. It was like 10 p.m. or
I
something.
don't know.
Anyway, eventually what it was and how it happened.
Bell's palsy. So
What is?
So first we thought that it might be a heart attack or something.
She thought.
And my flatmates. But it was Bell's palsy. So it's kind of the half of your side. I haven't checked what that disease is actually in a long time, but it's like half of your side is just stuck. It's just paralyzed.
Due to?
Stress. And
sleepless night as well.
Yeah, we had sleepless nights for weeks, and yeah, and like I said, my exam season and everything, I was very stressed. So yeah, that led me to being halfly paralyzed in my face, and we never knew whether that might have consequences long term, because for some people it does. I got like physio prescribed for my face. I had to do certain exercises every day. Remember, I had to do exercises.
Yeah. I think she's doing too much anyway. However, it was quite intense and nice to remember period of our life, I would say. You were quite young as well, because I was
24.
And I was 26.
Yeah, I just turned 24 and
Yes.
it was 26.
Yes. And nothing then, what else can you share about that period?
I mean, from then on, it kind of went, that was kind of the honeymoon phase, which was stressful, but also very lovely. And then it kind of never stopped.
Never stopped, yeah. I mean, we had very, very rough years ahead of us. And I think this is something maybe that we have to talk in another video, because we will need pretty much one video for almost each episode of our life, which we had like dozens of those. Okay, so I think that for this one is enough. If you guys have any questions, you let us know in the comment, subscribe, put like, and see you in the next video.
See you then.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye. Ciao.